Hi, folks. You're with Tacitus today, your pushback channel, and thank you for joining this live stream. I think most people now have heard about the Libs of TikTok, where the person behind it's been doxed by one of the North American newspapers, and also been censored off Twitter. So there seems to be a huge overreaction. The foot soldiers of the globalists. The globalists use these LGBT and the teachers and all these sort of they're ones that they're being used by the globalists as the foot soldiers against the rest of us. And there seems to have been a huge overreaction. Why would they care? The videos that were used on the Libs of TikTok were already out there on the internet and in the public domain. They already could be viewed by anybody who wanted to view them. So the fact that they've been sort of collated and put together into one channel, and maybe they're the worst examples or the least I don't know, pleasant examples or the most unpleasant examples, whatever, I don't know. But certainly any video I've seen uploaded by an early school or a preschool or kindergarten type teacher is pretty much along those lines. If they're not preaching gender fluidity or gay lesbian issues or inflicting sort of sexuality, adult sexuality sort of ideas onto children. If they're not doing that, then that's a bigger surprise. I'm yet to see, and I'm sure they're out there, I'm yet to see one that from a leftist person, a leftist teacher, that actually talks about educating children, just straight on education, preparing them for their future, being able to read and write and do mathematics and develop skills of analysis, things like that, to develop those things. You just don't see those vids, or I guess they must be out there. But on this Libs of TikTok thing, what's the big deal? These vids were already around. I mean, so who cares? But that's not the issue here. The issue is, and it's not one of censorship per se, but it's what these foot soldiers are there to do. That they have a job, which is why the globalists give them free rein to let them loose. They're there to humiliate and denigrate the straight white population of the West. Their job, these preschool teachers, is to say, well, we've got your children, and we can tell them what we want. We can push the most perverse propaganda at them, and we've got the support of the education department. We've got support of the government. And by the way, if you don't like it and you come to a school meeting and complain, the FBI will start investigating. You'll have FBI agents knocking on your door. See how you like that, you fucking Nazi motherfucker. So this is really the power they have. So this is the message the globalists want to put to anyone that votes for Donald Trump or votes for Brexit or votes for Marjorie Taylor Greene or any other Republican who feels that they represent the people. The objective of this isn't necessarily to ply your children with propaganda, although they're definitely doing that. The objective is to see we can do it, and there's not a damn thing you can do about it. Not a damn thing you can do about it. So you might as well just accept it. That's it. So all the values that a good middle class American or anyone really in the Western world would hold dear or believe important, such as a good education for their children. The teachers are going to be responsible and sensible and reasonable. All these sorts of things. That the courts will be independent. That your vote actually matters. Not only from the people that count it, but from the politicians that you supposedly elect, that all these things are important, yet the globalists can take them all away and have taken them away. And so everything you hold dear, important to believe in, rule of law, due legal process, all of that. The globalists have disassembled pretty much all of that out of society. Now you get a few pockets here and there where it still might happen, but effectively they're squeezing all of those things out of society, out of Western societies, and they want to humiliate a once proud society. They want to disrupt and break down all cohesion. They want children being against parents, and being actively encouraged to be against parents, not as a byproduct of teenage hormones or something, but from a young age, actively children being sexualized, being filled with the LGBT agenda and all this sort of stuff. This is what they're doing all across. Drag queen story hour at libraries. This is what they're doing all across society. And don't think it's just accidental or organic or something. It's not. It's not. That this is what they're planning, and the funding to these sorts of things, breaking up of the family, also the funding these organisations that push it is immense, so massive funding. The funding on the other side to stop it's about zero, but the funding to push this sort of stuff. So really, that's the issue. These kindergarten and early age school teachers, they're nothing. The globalists don't give a shit about them. They're the useful idiots that can be used to just add another dimension, another battlefront, if you like, in the war, to crush, humiliate, and just to erode and take away all the confidence that society has. This is a big one. Your kids at school with some mad, barking mad fucking primary school teacher that's just sexualizing and telling the most outrageous propaganda. But there's really nothing you can do about it. Nothing you can do. And if you kick up too much of a fuss, you'll have federal agents dragging you off, calling you a treasonous so-and-so. This is how bad it's got. But this is what they want you to feel. They want you to feel utterly powerless and utterly humiliated by all these measures and moves that they're taking and funding. Even making George Soros getting those idiotic district attorneys appointed who let out murderers and mass murderers are let out on like a $20,000 bail. But if you went in the wrong entrance on January 6th, you're 12 months in prison. That's the insanity of the world we're in currently, and yet but one example. So this is what they're about, and this is why the leftist sort of outrage about you're making us look bad, but you're undermining our capacity to destroy you, and we won't tolerate that. You damn fascist Nazis. So this is where they're going, and that's what it's all about, and that's really what annoys them. They have the right, as I said, they have the right to do this. They're encouraged to, paid to do it, pushed into doing it, do these things to children. But will they brook any line of questioning or complaint, or will they be held accountable for it? Not a chance. And the entire system, Twitter and all these other outfits are falling happily in line with them to protect them, protect this outrageous propaganda foisted on children. Now, if you've got all the parents, in the school, and said, okay, we want to sexualize your 5-year-old children, and we want to teach them about gender fluidity, and we just don't want to teach them about it. We want to hammer them overhead, really force it into their brains about gender fluidity and LGBT and so on. We want to really push it at them and give them heavy doses of North Korean style propaganda. What do you reckon, parents? Let's take a vote. They wouldn't have a snowball's chance of getting up in a vote like that. Not a snowball's chance. They've got to deceive, tell lies, try and do it in darkness, try and hide, that sort of thing. And that's how now they'll do the videos to impress each other. So when the lesbian activist preschool teacher puts out a video, she's doing that to broadcast her virtue to the other preschool teachers. You may get 5-year-old kids sexualized on this, but I've got 4.5-year-old kids. And so they're doing it to virtue signal to each other. But if it's going to get looked at by people that aren't fully sympathetic and on board with the cause, then it's a problem to them, because that means they're being held accountable, and they're not being made. They look bad. These videos are terrible. When you look at them, you can't believe it. Somebody like that should be fired the minute somebody sees that video. the school board or the education department. The second they see it, that person should be fired. Imagine if a primary school teacher said something that was that reflected or suggested they supported, this myth of white privilege. They'd be fired on the spot. Yet these people can do the most outrageous things to children. And not only are they not fired, they're not reprimanded, nothing happens to them at all, and they're protected and defended at every turn by the entire establishment. You've been a Tacitus today at your Pushback channel, and thank you for listening.